Hello and welcome to Wild Pyrford. It's the February edition, bringing you news of conservation projects in and around our village of Pyrford. Except for this month, well, you don't need me to tell you that things haven't been first class for filming. Well, we haven't done any. As a consequence, this will be a short programme. So thanks for watching and goodbye. Well, not quite true. 3 of our brilliant subscribers have emailed over some videos of their gardens, which is great, and we have a rather random item at the end of the programme. So we begin by visiting 3 gardens, not with a vast film crew this time, but simply there's the owner and a phone which was emailed across to us in the last couple of days. They're about a minute long each. But they remind the rest of us that nature doesn't stop just because of lockdown. Here's Robert's winter snapshot.
I have a pond which supports all sorts of life, from frogs to dragonflies. We have newts too, which is great. The stones around the side allow birds to drink from the pond when the weather is hot in the summer. The bird feeder are a vital source of food for our feathered friends in winter. We have blue tits and woodpeckers. The squirrels used to climb up the pole and steal all the seeds, so I put some organic grease on it and that sorted that problem. We think this is where a hedgehog chooses to spend his winter. The entrance to his burrow is beneath those leaves, which act as a sort of secret door as well as a good camouflage. The weather station sends its report via radio to a monitor in the kitchen. It records temperature, wind speed and direction and air pressure. We have 2 composters, one for grass and one for food waste, vegetable matter only, and certainly no tea bags which contain high levels of plastic. The fox spends some of his time under our shed, although it doesn't look as though he's been around lately. His favourite time of the year is summer. Field mice or voles enjoy this shelter too. This was our garden a couple of weeks ago.
Robert's garden filmed about a week ago, just after the snows had disappeared. And you're watching Wild Pyrford, which in normal times is a series of videos on conservation projects in and around our village. Well, my garden number 2 was filmed last summer and was sent over by Matt. He also added his own commentary.
We've been in this house for about 5 years. Having always lived in apartments, I've never really had a garden before, so this is the first garden I've had. It's been a bit of a steep learning curve. It's quite a small garden. It gets the sun in the mornings but not in the afternoons, so from about 1 o'clock onwards it's kind of in the shade, so that kind of limits what grows here, but somehow by miracle things do grow. I'm constantly learning about plants and what plants work best in different areas of the garden. What I do like to do is encourage the wildlife into the garden, and you really don't have to do very much. I've put a pile of logs at one end of the garden to encourage bugs and wildlife. Hopefully we'll get a hedgehog. Quite like to see a hedgehog in the garden. And we put in bug hotels and butterfly houses. Recently we've put a pond in the garden, and that encourages birds to come down and drink in the summer, so it's really good for that. And it's just nice to have a bit of water in the garden as well. This was made out of an old sink that work was throwing out, so I managed to get a little water feature going in there. And it's surprising you don't have to do a great deal to encourage the wildlife into your garden.
Matt and his garden filmed last summer. And so on to our last short homemade video with images of flowers, insects, habitats, which are all so vital even in winter. Here's Elspeth's garden view.
I've got tree stumps in my garden and log piles which provide a haven for insects, woodlice and beetle grubs. The logs should still have their bark. Treated timber, for example fence posts, should be avoided. Before long you'll be surprised who comes along to make a new home. I've got primulas with their generous leaves, ideal shelter for tiny creatures. Some daffodils, and the snowdrops are just beginning to light up the flower beds, a sign that spring is on the way. And here's my composter. Every home should have one. And don't get rid of a broken flower pot, it can easily provide a ready-made home for other creatures. And here's a picture of the wood anemone, which I love.
Elises Garden, the third of our local garden videos. And thank you to all three. Well, that's it for this month, except to say we've had a number of projects on hold, such as a look at the work the rangers do for conservation on Pyrford Common and the surrounding woods, and an investigation into how we can maintain our grass verges in Pyrford for wildlife and natural habitats, plus our regular snapshots of various rewilding projects that continue in our neighbourhood, and a host more. But let's finish by remembering the snows we had as January concluded. Caught us all a bit unawares, didn't it? But brought everyone out into the snowy streets to chat, laugh, throw snowballs and build snowmen. Here's a collection of figures who livened up Lovelace and Lincoln Drive before the warmer weather made all the snow vanish. Snowmen with music by Matt Davis. And if you have any thoughts or ideas on local conservation projects, we'd love to hear from you. And you can email us at wildpyrford@gmail.com or visit our website www.wildpyrford.com. Thanks very much for watching, and if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe so you won't miss anything we do in the future, which might not be very much. The play-out music is from the pen of Lance Jones and Robert Mature, and Kimberly Ferris singing a seasonal ditty, let's say. I hope you can join us next time. I'm Tim Matthews, and this has been Wild Pyrford.
I'll sing you a song for this day of the year and send you 12 roses to make it quite clear that I love you. I will do, forever be mine, and let me always be your Valentine.